So first question is like, what inspired you to become a filmmaker? Like, was it gradual or?
Uh, I mean, to be honest, like I wanted to be an animator because I used to draw since I was a kid and like I used to paint a lot. But if you're gonna ask my parents, I was a pretty good liar. They say that I used to lie a lot and make a lot of stories. So somewhere like it sort of helped me to get into this. But at the same time, I think since I was a kid, I was pretty active in co-curriculars. Like I would do anything not to go to the class, and I would either go for sports or like theater or painting or art. And later, then I thought, ki, like I was more inclined towards animation and becoming an animator. But like I think later, my undergrads sort of pushed me away from that somehow. And then I was like, okay, where can I sort of mix all these, aspects of photography, like drawing and everything. And then I was like, maybe this is the way to go. And then I sort of chose that. Yeah.
Where you live, like in which state?
I am basically between three places. Abhi to basically Goa, Delhi, and Poland. So I keep rotating. It's like a relay.
Okay. And you used to play sports, like which sports you used to play?
I used to be a swimmer. I did professionals like competitive swimming at least for 13, 14 years. Yeah, and then basically around when I was 16 or 17, uh, there was just too much kind of cheating and corruption, and my dad was like, "There's no point of doing this." And I was like, okay, that's why I now like I enjoy swimming, but not competitive or something. So yeah, I used to also play football and water polo. Yeah.
Great. Like I used to play football as well.
Yeah, that's
S-
nice.
So your parents was like supportive when you said you want to become a
They
filmmaker?
had to be supportive because they saw that I can't become a doctor, I can't become an engineer. So like they were like, "Ki, chalo, like if he's doing something, so let him just enjoy it." And I, I sort of went with that, went with the flow.
So have you gone to like film school as well?
Yeah, yeah. I was studying in the film school in Poland actually. Yeah,
Lodz.
yeah, the National Film School in Łódź, and yeah, but you can pronounce it as Lodz also. Yeah, that was something I feel. My love for Kieślowski basically took me there. Like I have an elder sibling, my sister. So usually I follow her path, and she was studying graphic design in NID. And at that time, I think she sort of, and before that, she was in NIFT. So she used to basically get a lot of films like world cinema. And at that time, I got introduced to Kieślowski, Andrzej Złowski, and Andre Vaida. And I was pretty fascinated. And I sort of, at that time, like in India, like at least for me, becoming a filmmaker or director was a very far-fetched dream. Like I don't know anyone like who's into films, like at least in my family or something. Then I was like, okay, like if I ever step into filmmaking, I would go and may study only at the same school where Kieślowski went.
Okay,
Yeah.
great, great,
I
great.
mean, at that time, I think it was pretty nice, but at the same time, I think it was quite risky and brave of me, which I like sort of feel good about now.
Okay.
So
Like,
yeah.
was it a scholarship or like master degree?
It was no, it was undergrads and masters both. It's basically it wasn't it wasn't a scholarship, but there's a very because I didn't know anything how to get in or whatever. I just compiled my drawing, photography portfolio, my ideas. I wrote few stories, short stories. Compiled a small book, and I just sent it to them. And then they basically asked me to come for the entrance exam, and they have a very hectic 3-day entrance examination. And the whole education is also in Polish, so I had to learn the language before, because they have 1 year of just language. And yeah, then I basically, before that I worked in advertising and photography. Like, I used to assist one of the photographers, so I had quite like some savings. So then from there I started, and then like over there I found some graphic design job, because I also work as a, like a web developer, not developer but designer. My sister is also UI UX designer, so I work as a graphic designer, so I do a lot of things to sort of sustain, and which makes it more interesting. Yeah.
So like you started like you went to film school during your undergraduate. So I've spoken to a lot of film
That was
school
my
students.
second undergrads. I did
Oh,
my
okay.
first undergrads at Delhi, Bachelor's of Fine Arts in College of Art, Delhi, and then I worked, and then I went for my second undergrads.
So there's a lot of debate like should you go to film school and should you not go to film school? So what's your opinion?
Yeah, I think like it totally depends on the person, or like what they want out of film school or film education. Like for me, it was pretty like I told you, I was really fascinated about Polish cinema, and I was really curious about it, and sort of I wanted to go there. But the other thing that I really wanted to sort of was to meet different new talents, because I tried a lot before going to Poland, but it somehow didn't work in Delhi, especially when Delhi doesn't have the industry and everything. And I was always very scared to step to Bombay, like sort of move. And then, but yeah, like my main thing was just to sort of. I think the good thing about film school, now you have put this question, is that you can fail. You can make films and you can fail. And of course, like a lot of filmmakers, like you see a lot of interviews, Tarantino, Paul Thomas Anderson, and all. But that, I feel, that was a very different generation and a different time when they were making films. And especially now in these days, the contacts and everything, it's very hard for like an outsider to sort of meet people. And I feel film school provides this sort of great avenue to meet sort of collaborators and everything. So it totally depends on the individual what they want. Like and if somebody can make the best out of it, and somebody can go the other way.
So I've spoken to a lot of filmmakers. Like they've gone to film school, they haven't gone to film school. Like I have learned like if you are not from Mumbai and you don't know anyone, so you should definitely go to a film school.
Yeah, like and I feel the more than like a film school, like at least for me, it was just this experience of being in a totally different culture, and not knowing the language, not knowing anything. And I feel that that was something uh, uh, much more motivating for me to sort of go to. Like, I was like, okay, I'll make films. That's a different thing. But like, I think just getting out of this comfort zone, and also there's a sense of liberation and freedom when like your all your senses are sort of waking up or sort of working. And I think that experience also influenced the way of working for me, how I write, like how uh, if I move places, like different places, like all the stories sort of come from me there, so I keep writing down things. And later, yeah, like the good thing about my like this Polish film school was that they gave all the equipment, so we used to just utilize those opportunities, and we had really good professors who who have their films in big festivals. So you used to get these experiences, which I'm really glad that I went there.
Yeah, okay. Like it's quite a jump. Like you didn't want to move from Delhi to Mumbai, but you have gone to Poland and the country.
Exactly, like I think that's something I really enjoy doing such things. Like I feel that film in itself is not as very. If you're too safe, you basically sort of uh, cater to mediocrity. I feel somehow, but I feel that like there is when you take this leap of faith, you feel that things are possible. And at that time, I don't know, there was a very small, not very small, but very big gut feeling that I had, that after watching a lot of Kieślowski, a lot of depressing stuff, that I was like, why am I relating to this? I need to go and live where he lived, or like just see, like, and this kind of gut feeling I never sort of got for any other place. So, and when I went there, like I stayed there for 7 years, and I still keep going, over there. And it's just a totally different, way of thinking. And I think then it sort of also gives you, especially coming from India, to mix these two cultures, or like way of seeing or way of thinking, and coming up with something new in the end. Yeah.
Great. So,
Yeah.
what's your favorite Kieslowski film? First of all, let me.
Oh man, a short film about love. Definitely, it's one of my top decalogue. I can watch again and again. Uh, Three Colors White. It's again Blind Chance. I'm in no end. Like there are so many, but yeah, it's very hard for me to sort of yeah. But I would say short film about love.
Okay, great. So, let's talk about your film, Fool School.
Yeah, sure.
So, how the idea came for the story?
Actually, like it was my second year film, and I didn't. I'm more of a visual person. I think I understood and started writing properly when I went to the school. And at that time, I remember it's a second my second year film, and I was like, okay, like I want to write comedy. Like I want to sort of try to write different sort of stuff every year, and just explore my writing skills. And then I was like, okay, like how to sort of catch ideas or something. And then I think I saw one interview by Michael Haneke, where he basically said that, like, like stories are everywhere. If you don't get an idea, just open a newspaper and you can write a story about it. I was like, okay, like, like I think he's just being a little bit too over smart. Let's see if it works, like, and genuinely, I think at that time I was in Delhi, and I opened up the newspaper, and I saw this small news in the newspaper, and I was like, oh, there you go, I'll just write a short story about it. So that's how basically Fool's Gold basically came about. Yeah.
And what was your like process in this? Like, were you stuck to the script or let the actors do improvisation?
I do a lot of improvisation. I think that's the most fun. Basically, like I write the script, I give it to the actors, like of course before the shoot, and I especially because I was making a film in Polish, so like they are speaking Polish, and I'm writing in English. So I think like the best way for me to was to sort of improvise with them. Also, we had these improvisation classes, really good improvisation classes, and I just sort of loved this idea of just playing with improvising, and like how to sort of get very natural dialogues, and small quirky things that actors can provide. So I sort of try to mix both of these. Like somewhere when I see that there is a good place to improvise in terms of the whole film, in terms of the pacing and everything. then I totally exploit it. And till now I feel that I've got great results with it, and I just love it. It's more interesting when you're on the set, when you're improvising. I think the actors and their energy, like, really, it's amazing feeling. So yeah, I'm pretty much for improvisation.
So like, what's the process you enjoy the most? Like writing, shooting, or like pre-production? Editing?
To be honest, like, I love being on the set. Though, like, a lot of people say that I look very serious and angry on the set, but I think it's just my face. But like, I love being on the set and just like being spontaneous and decisive. I think that is the main thing that cuts the procrastination, because pre-production is all overthinking, or like thinking and writing, planning, and everything. But I feel on the set I sort of like this spontaneous thing that everything is going, and like you have to just sort of know what you want and just take decisions, and just sort of, like a domino effect, and let it flow. And I think that's one of my favorite. Even editing, I love editing. Like, just to sit with an editor, or just like sort of, like play with the pacing of the scenes and like the pacing of the film. I kind of enjoy it. Sometimes I over enjoy it, so it gets a little bit to me. But yeah, so I would say being on the set.
How big was the crew and how many days like you completed the film from writing to
uh,
completing, grading
I
all?
I think for Fool's Gold, I I wrote this script, I think, in 1.5 month. And then, like, but we had to shoot it for 4 days. But I shot it just for 3 days, because on the fourth day pandemic hit, and everything was basically in Poland. Everything was shut. So like, I we shot it for 2.5 days, and half of my third day was gone, and then there was no fourth day. And then I thought to myself at that time, ki, oh, like, like, it's half done film, it won't sort of work and all. But like, in the end, after editing, I felt, oh, it's kind of, like, I added this news speaking in the end to
Yeah,
sort
yeah.
of complete it. So that was something that I couldn't shoot. So
Okay,
I that's why I put it like a newspaper, like not a newspaper but a news anchors talking about this news. Yeah,
okay,
so two and
okay,
a half days and 1.5 month of writing.
okay, okay. So like in films, like it was your second graduation, like second year film
Yeah.
school. So they give you like uh, money to shoot and like they you
Yes,
have to.
yes. Yeah, they gave us fund, like, budget, which is also from the, because it's a national film school, so we get the budget from the government, and which is also another liberating part, you know. And yeah, and like, they basically, in the school, they start from giving you nothing to slowly sort of increasing the budget, slowly, steadily, every year. And but by the end, when you get a lot of money, you are so used to making it for so cheap, and like in a very small, how should I say, production value, in some way, 3 4 people, actors, and you just sort of improvise and you just make a film. Then you have to give back that money, so then you feel really bad that you could have done so much. But like, I think these restrictions are pretty good, because they make you sort of really explore the creative realms of writing, and playing with the actors. Yeah.
So like as you said, like the ending you had to shoot, but you had the voiceover. Like
Yeah.
whenever there is a true, whenever film says true events, it's not a true event, and like it's fiction.
Exactly.
So there was a question, like I have found the answer, so that's fine.
Okay.
So let's talk about Melody Days. So
Yeah.
how the idea came for that?
Even okay, Melody Day was like my next year, like after Fool's Gold. Like I made that film, and I think like with Melody Day, I just wanted to sort of explore this theme of displacement. Like as an Indian or like as any South Asian being having this feeling of displacement when they live or like have this life in Europe. Usually, like we are also all post-colonial identities who are always taught that there's a better world outside than in your country. So just so this sort of character sort of came to me of just like me who went for love of cinema or love to Kieślowski. So I just wrote a character who fell in love online with a woman and who went and who sort of got married over there, but one day she disappears on him, and she just wants to separate. And I just wanted to show like this one day of him trying to forget and just going to a new city and trying to push himself from this abandonment and falling in love again, and just sort of understanding the grief of separation and just abandonment and how it sort of and even how you are seen as an outsider, like and especially how these elements sort of play in setting of in love. Usually, how it impacts love between two people who are not from the same culture. And at that time, I think this was also something that I was exploring during one of my improvisation workshops, because this was something, this character I made during the improvisation workshop that I had in the school. And over there, so Vuch, that this Lodz Vuch, this city, it actually means boat, a boat in Polish. And the funny part about this city is that there is no river, and it's called a boat. So everybody says that the boat is stuck; it's not moving anywhere. So this was my first idea for the character, to that this guy is stuck. He's unable to move on with this separation, and he's in the city of Vuch, which is a boat. So this is how I started writing, and then with improvisation, the whole sort of film came about. Yeah, but I did the improvisation before, then I wrote, and then I improvised again on the set. Yeah.
So like it was your next year film. So what did you learn? Like, did you find any difference in the way you approach a film?
I think ex- a lot. I feel even because in Fool's Gold, everybody was an actor, and in Melody Day there was only one actor, and all are non-actors. So I think this mixture of an actor and a non-actor, because that was really fascinating for me, because it's the film school I studied, and it's also a theater school. So we have a lot of actors over there, and they are more theatrical, they are more out there, like. And I think just mixing it with the non-actors kind of tones them down, or like, and or pushes the non-actors a little bit higher. But also it depends on the personality, what sort of a person you are taking. And yeah, like I think that was my biggest sort of learning. And it just became fun, you know I was really having fun on the set, like, and just not pushing people to say this or say that at the same time, at that time or something. I was sort of just going with the flow. And I think again this came about just this little non-understanding of the language, Polish. And I thought that they are in much better control than me of the language. So I just sort of went with it.
Also, like you let the actor improvisation, like you love the improvisation part, so that also helped working with the non-actors also.
Yeah, I think like this just improvisation sort of like every set is a different experience, and like improvisation just adds up to it, like sort of it just makes it so memorable, the whole thing, how you did it, how like in Melody Day, like some of my, they are my friends, like who are acting, and they work at that bar, and I used to go to that bar, and this artist was actually a real artist who did those paintings, and that was a real couple. So I sort of just I said like, okay, we are gonna have your exhibition again. I'm just gonna put actors, or like sorry, my characters, and they're just gonna perform and all. They're like, fine. I'm like, but you'll also have to sort of do the acting. They're like, we don't know how to act or act. And also like the whole conversation was actually around their real interest, their real love for the song, their like sort of reality, what they live in. So then it became pretty comfortable for them, and sort of the whole key was for me to how to make the camera invisible for them. And once they were in the conversation, I think then it was pretty smooth. Yeah.
So, any difficulties you face like in both of the film, like which was like really tough?
uh, One is pandemic, like COVID. I think that was one of the biggest challenges that I faced in editing, how to sort of conclude the film. And in Melody Day, I think it was just like it was a student production, like and everybody is like sort of learning, and it's their first time. So I think at that in Melody Day, like me and my producer sort of made some uh, small mistakes, like of location, not getting the permission, and things like that. But I wouldn't call them like major challenges in a way. uh, but Yeah, I think like the Fool's Gold pandemic hit me really badly compared to Melody Day. After that, I felt any in Melody Day any kind of challenge, I was like, I'll take it. Yeah.
Okay, great. So, is there any like? Can you recommend or list a number of films that you really like, or inspired by?
See, that is something that keeps changing, to be honest. But I can name directors like some, though I don't want to name call some big names or whatever. But I think the major influence on me is Edward Yang, uh, this Taiwanese new wave director. I think like he really resonates with me in some way. And Michelangelo Antonioni, if I go to like old Visconti, Pasolini, Haneke, like I mean, major all European art house, but Edward Young hands down, and is somebody who from the past is like one of the great directors that I like. And from contemporary, from today's, I think there's Albert Serra. He made Pacifiction and Solitude in the Afternoon. His recent documentary. I really enjoy his way of shooting film. Like he's not on the set, like he's not there. He gives an earpiece to the actors, and he tells his three camera people just to capture them. And this is just like something really intriguing for me. And he doesn't see the footage or camera during the shoot, and he just directly goes to the editing room, and that's the first time he sees the footage. So also I think these sort of little quirks that these like Albert Serra has, that gives me a lot of new ideas how to sort of make film. And yeah, that is something I would. Kieślowski again, of course, just because I think like the previous generation or like that generation of filmmakers, their intent with film was very powerful. That kind of attracts me. Their intent, what they, that was something for them. I think that it was a need for them to sort of make the film. And like even Eric Romer, and yeah, like I can keep naming. I can write to you later, like, if I mean, I see that you have seen a lot of films though.
Okay. Any Indian?
Mani Ratnam, I love Mani Ratnam. Satyajit Ray, I think recently only I even Dipak Ghatak, I recently saw Music Room by Satyajit Ray on a big screen in Poland, and I just loved it. I think the ending of that film is like one of the best endings I have ever seen. Like it's how should I say, is the real depiction of madness, you know, like the last frame of that film. Also, yeah, Wong Bing, this Chinese documentary. I think like when I see his stuff, Youth Spring and this Youth trilogy, Man in Black, and like Till Madness Do Us Part. I think that is one of the documentaries where I could smell the space, and I think that was something I was like, hats off. You know, like I felt that this was something totally different, and it's very brave. I was talking to my friend. I was sort of saying that he's possibly new of our times. You know, like he's really sort of out there, and it's just too much courage. You know, to make stuff like that. And yeah, so these are some filmmakers I sort of really look up to.
So, are you currently doing any work right now?
Yeah, I just finished my another short film. It's by the name Fear of Small Numbers, and it's a film about like just three situations, which is about like three individuals who face prejudice as minorities in Europe, in present day Europe. So it'll be done in like I think one month more. I'm in the post, and yeah, and then also in this film I got opportunity to uh, work with Mehdi Bajistani, who was in Holy Spider, the main actor in the whole in Holy Spider, and that was another experience. I was quite blown away because he's just so good. Like improvising with him is just like, I think at the set I felt that I'm not needed. You know. Yeah, so that, yeah, it'll be done in 1.5 months. So yeah, then let's see
Okay, okay. Is
what
it
happens
a
with it.
is it a feature film or a
No,
like
it's
short
a
film?
short. It's a 20-21 minute film, and yeah, it's I think it's my final year film basically. It's my diploma. So yeah, it's in post production. I need to get the color grading done. Yeah.
Okay, okay. So last question is, if somebody wants to become a filmmaker, so what advice would you give to them?
What advice? I think like just just do it. Stop thinking. Just go for it. Like I think in today's world, I feel like with phone and everything, you just need sort of few friends and just sort of go for it. Nothing. No, I mean that's I wish I did that. So I would say that's the only advice I would be. And like yeah, like I think also not fall into this thought of what is good or what is bad. You know, if it works for you, it is that's it.